The afternoon air at the small town park was heavy with silence, the kind that settles when people carry invisible burdens. Sunlight filtered through tall trees, casting soft shadows on a weathered wooden bench near the walking path. A U.S. Marine sat there, his posture straight but tired, the kind of tired that comes from years of carrying more than a rucksack ever could. At his feet lay a large service dog, calm and alert, eyes scanning the world with quiet loyalty. The Marine looked like a statue carved from discipline and pain, unmoving, distant, as if the world passed him by without permission to enter. That was when a fragile moment changed everything. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of humanity, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that compassion still exists, even in the most unexpected moments. The Marine had come to the park not for peace, but for survival. After years of deployment, loss, and trauma that followed him home like a shadow, this bench had become his refuge. The war never truly ended for him. It lived in his mind, in the way sudden noises made his chest tighten, in the way crowds turned into threats, and in the way sleep often refused to come. His service dog was more than an animal. It was an anchor, trained to sense panic before it consumed him, trained to ground him when memories tried to pull him back into chaos. People often noticed the uniform, even though it was worn and faded, and they noticed the dog even more. Most kept their distance, unsure of what to say or afraid of saying the wrong thing. The Marine didn't mind. Silence was safer. Silence didn't ask questions he couldn't answer. Across the park, life moved on in ordinary ways. Joggers passed by with headphones in, parents pushed strollers, and elderly couples walked slowly, hand in hand. Among them was a young girl, her movements careful and deliberate. Her body didn't move like the others. One leg dragged slightly, supported by a brace, and her arm trembled when she tried to balance herself. She carried pain too, though hers came from a different battlefield. The girl had learned early that the world wasn't built for people like her. Stares followed her everywhere. Some were filled with pity, others with discomfort, and some with cruelty masked as curiosity. She had grown used to being invisible and painfully visible at the same time. Still, she loved the park. It was one of the few places where she felt free, where the open sky made her feel less confined by her body. That day, every bench near the playground was full. The girl's legs began to ache, the familiar burning reminding her of her limits. She scanned the park for somewhere to rest, her eyes landing on the Marine and his dog. Something about them felt different. The dog looked gentle, not intimidating. The Marine looked strong, but there was a sadness there that felt familiar. With every step toward the bench, her heart pounded harder than her legs. She had been rejected before. People often assumed she was a burden, an inconvenience, but exhaustion pushed her forward. She stopped beside the bench, gripping her brace tightly, gathering courage she wasn't sure she had. The Marine noticed her presence immediately. His dog shifted slightly, alert but calm. The Marine's instincts flared, not in aggression, but in awareness. When he looked up and saw the girl standing there, uncertain and trembling, something inside him cracked open. Not with fear, but with recognition. He saw someone fighting a battle no one else could see. The girl asked her simple question, her voice barely louder than the rustling leaves. It wasn't just a request for space. It was a request for dignity. Time seemed to slow as the Marine processed the moment. For years, he had felt like the broken one, the person others had to accommodate. Now, someone else stood before him, vulnerable in a way that mirrored his own pain. He shifted slightly, making room on the bench without hesitation. The dog remained still, watching gently. The girl sat down carefully, relief washing over her face as the weight lifted from her legs. For a moment, neither spoke. Words weren't necessary. The silence between them was different from the one the Marine was used to. It was warm, shared and human. People passing by slowed down, sensing something unusual. It wasn't dramatic on the surface. No grand gestures, no speeches. Just a Marine, a service dog, and a disabled girl sitting side by side. But beneath that simplicity was something powerful unfolding. The girl noticed the dog first, her eyes lighting up with cautious joy. Animals had always made her feel safe. They didn't judge the way humans did. The dog leaned closer, resting its head near her leg, not touching, just present. The Marine watched carefully, ready to intervene if needed, but the dog knew exactly what it was doing. It sensed calm, not danger. The girl's breathing slowed, her shoulders relaxed. For the first time that day, she felt normal. Not disabled, not different. Just another person sitting on a bench in the park. The Marine felt it too. His chest, usually tight with tension, loosened. The dog's presence, combined with the girl's quiet courage, grounded him in the present moment. The past loosened its grip, just enough for him to breathe freely. As minutes passed, the girl leaned back slightly, soaking in the sun. She didn't ask questions about the uniform or the scars. She didn't treat him like a hero or a broken soldier. She simply shared the space, and that was enough. Her mother watched from a distance, torn between concern and gratitude. She had seen the stares, the rejection, the moments when her daughter came home pretending she didn't care. Seeing her sit there, calm and accepted, brought tears to her eyes. She realized that healing doesn't always come from doctors or therapy rooms. Sometimes it comes from strangers who understand pain without needing explanations. The Marine's thoughts drifted to his own childhood, to the boy he once was before the uniform, before the war. He remembered feeling small, powerless, unsure of his place in the world. Somewhere along the way, he had learned to hide those feelings behind strength. Sitting next to the girl, he realized strength wasn't about standing tall or carrying weapons. It was about making room for someone else when you barely had room for yourself. The dog shifted again, placing a paw gently near the girl's foot. It was a trained gesture of reassurance, but it felt like something more. The girl smiled, a smile that carried years of pain and hope intertwined. That smile hit the Marine harder than any battlefield memory. It reminded him why he had served in the first place, why protecting the vulnerable mattered. Around them, the park seemed to soften. Conversations quieted. People watched discreetly, sensing the gravity of the moment. Some wiped away tears without fully understanding why. They were witnessing something rare. Two wounded souls finding comfort in each other without words. Eventually, the girl stood up, steadying herself slowly. Her legs still hurt, but something inside her felt lighter. She looked back at the Marine and his dog with gratitude written all over her face. It wasn't just about the bench. It was about being seen. Her mother approached, thanking the Marine with a voice thick with emotion. The Marine nodded, unsure how to respond. Praise still made him uncomfortable. He didn't see what he did as extraordinary. To him, it was instinct. Humanity. As the girl walked away, she glanced back once more, waving shyly. The Marine raised his hand slightly, the dog's tail wagging softly. That small exchange carried more healing than either of them realized. After they left, the Marine remained on the bench, but something had changed. The weight he carried felt a little lighter. The park no longer felt like a place to hide, but a place to exist. He realized that healing didn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it arrived quietly, disguised as a simple question. If this moment moved you, if it reminded you that kindness still exists in this world, please comment right now and share what this story made you feel. Your words might inspire someone who desperately needs hope today. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden edges on the trees, the Marine stood up, the dog rising with him. He walked away from the bench, not cured, not fixed, but changed. He carried with him the image of a brave girl who asked for space and unknowingly gave him something far greater in return. And somewhere in that park, Kindness lingered, invisible but powerful, waiting for the next person brave enough to ask, and the next person willing enough to make room. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories like this alive, reminding the world that compassion, even in the smallest moments, can change lives.